next item.
Seeing these two aircraft together, they're relative contemporaries, though built initially for somewhat different purposes. One man on the British historic aircraft scene who's flown both types, though not both of these two exact examples, is John Corley, who used to fly the Anson for Air Atlantique. He flies this Lockheed 12 today. He's not flying it at the moment. He is one of the pilots who flies this one. He says the Anson handles very differently. It almost feels like it's a generation older, a little more agricultural. Might not be the politest way to say it. Especially for a display, but with the Lockheed, you don't need to trip it at all during a display. The speed changes you need to make. He says the Lockheed is much more pleasurable to fly.
This particular Electra has a fascinating backstory to it, one which is both stranger than fiction and also sometimes inseparable from fiction.
Yes, it centres around a bank on Sydney Cotton, Australian-born aviator, adventurer, and inventor. He various business interests under his belt by the time he was recruited by Winterbourne Fred Winterbottom, the head of the air section of the British Special Intelligence Service. Cotton was open to his approach because he was in financial difficulties at the time. Winterbottom wanted Cotton to head up the flying side of a new SAS reconnaissance operation. The reason behind this was that as war clouds gathered in Europe, traditional forms of intelligence were moving to Lockheed. This is very sleek and fast design for its day. All that construction, very high top speed, 225 miles an hour, and long range and very advanced with standard techniques so you can see why it was considered it would make a good reconnaissance platform. Having first been used by the Continental Oil Company in Ponca City, Oklahoma, it was then sold to the Secret Intelligence Service here in the UK, shipped to Britain aboard the SS Britannia, and reassembled in Eastleigh in Southampton. And then two companies, Cunliffe Owen and Airwork, converted it for the photographic reconnaissance role. installed a pair of camera ports. Photographer, a lady called Patricia Martin, came up with a couple of other modifications. A teardrop window on the port side of the cockpit, which could be another position for a handheld camera, and, perhaps even more cleverly, she suggested putting pipework to divert hot air from the engine exhausts across the lens of the starboard belly camera so it wouldn't fog up the And in the middle of 1939, it went into action, being flown by Cotton, and particularly by his co-pilot, Canadian flying officer Bob Niven, whose logbooks survived, unlike Cotton's, and revealed some of the missions it flew. Its first covered photographic reconnaissances of the Italian Empire as far as Italian Somaliland and Libya. Then it started flying to naval objectives in the north of Germany, out and back from its base at Heston, near London. And it flew several times to Tempelhof Airport in Berlin. This on business associated with Cotton's colour story with the Secret Intelligence Service, which was as a sales representative of a manufacturer of colour photographic film. Strangely, given that cover story, no period photographic images survive of this aircraft, so the colour scheme, when it was restored by Air Leasing, signed almost recently after the aircraft was bought by Fighter Aviation Engineering, is something of an approximation of the so-called camo-tipped livery which was applied to the aeroplane in the 30s. It's almost certain the aircraft wouldn't have conducted photography on its flights to Berlin. Quite simply because the camera doors weren't going to be operated manually, it couldn't be activated. But now to the Avro and Lockheed Anson, the design first flown in prototype form. Nonetheless, being quite simply a monoplane with a retractable undercarriage. In fact, it's the first RAF aircraft to use that configuration.
Speeding estimate of 40 knots and endurance of 4 hours was enough to control the North Sea.
I think it's a really useful aeroplane for the RAF to have around in such a time as the outbreak of war in 1939, because it was taken on by bomber command as well in significant numbers. 26 squadrons across the two commands of Paris were started, and even some of its supposed replacements proved inferior. In fact, number 608 was converted into Black Hole with an absolutely terrible. version which was also owned by the RAF. And the RAF didn't retire its last Ansons until as late as 1968.